What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the brand new Bolt Fan Podcast. It's your boy Josh, and I am here tonight by myself for the last episode, hopefully, before Trevor comes back after having his baby. So make sure, once again, y'all give some love to my boy. Tell him congratulations on being a father, first-time father. Like I said before, give him all the tips and tricks, whatever you got for helping him become a dad and helping him figure out diapers and bottles and whatever other tricks you got. Let him know in the comments. He might need them. You never know. So give us some love, give him some support on that. And while we're on the topic of love and support, if you love and support this channel, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I was just looking at the numbers today. We got 12,000 views on YouTube, but we only have 59 subscribers. So if y'all can do me a favor, help us out. The subscriptions really matter. They more than you know, they boost the algorithm. They help us out a ton. So if y'all wouldn't mind, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Help out your boys. Help us build this channel. And we're going to try to make it as good as we can for you guys. So you guys always have up-to-date Chargers content on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button so you never miss our content. And let's dive right in. Here's what we got going on today. I'm super excited about this one. So this is something I did last year before I had this channel, and I did it as something just to do for myself because I thought it was fun and I would like to compete. I wanted to see how good I would do. So at the end of training camp, right before they did the final roster cuts last year, I put together a 53-man roster prediction of what I thought the team would look like. When I did so, I got 51 out of 53 right. I don't remember the one that I missed. I know one of them that was Kendall Williamson I didn't have on the roster. He ended up making it, and I forget who I had him. I think I had Tony Jefferson on there instead of Kendall Williamson, which in hindsight, I was probably right because they brought T-Jeff back up and he balled out. So he probably should have made the roster from day one, but they did the whole practice squad up and down thing with him. So I wasn't too far off there. And I forget who the other one was off the top of my head, but it might have been Junior Colson because I think I had it before the injury and then he got injured and they put him on IR. And so someone else filled the spot. Not the point. Here's the deal. Long story short, what we got going on today is I'm doing my too early roster prediction. Here's how I'm going to do this. I wish I would have thought to do it sooner. So what I'm going to do is these are my too early roster predictions. Then right before the final cuts, we're going to do this again. And I'm going to give my right on time roster predictions. And then at the end of the season, whenever it ends, hopefully in February, like a week after the season, I want to do another video of my next year way too early, see if I can guess some of the free agents that we'd sign and things like that, who we might draft. That's going to be way harder, by the way, to figure out who we're drafting, but it'll be a fun little experiment. See how I do. I'm going to keep score. Maybe I'll post it for y'all, let y'all know how I do. And yeah, it'll be fun. If y'all want to do this for yourself, I definitely recommend it. It's just a fun little exercise. Yeah, keep score, see how you do. But here we go. So we're going to dive right in and we're going to go position by position. How many guys are we keeping? We have to get to a number of 53. With that, you got to have a punter, you got to have a kicker, you got to have a long snapper. Those all eat up roster spots for us. And so we got to really focus here on how do I say it? What am I trying to say? Oh, we just have to get to the right number and we got to focus on all these, like really the back end of the roster, these battles going into training camp. Who do I think is going to win the battle? Who do I think is going to make the team? So that's what we're going to dive into. I got to check something really, really fast. Let's see. All right. Got it. All right, cool. We are locked and loaded, ready to go. And we are going to start off with the easiest position. I'm worried about number 10, Justin Herbert, making the roster. You know, he's been distracted, got a new girlfriend, been in Europe. Obviously, I'm kidding. Justin Herbert is going to be our starting quarterback. Everybody knows that. And then, so the real fun part about the quarterback position here is, are we going to keep 2 or 3? So I think it's pretty locked in. Herbert's going to be our starter. Trey Lance is going to be our backup. That's pretty easy at this point in time. The question becomes DJ Uiagalelei, and I hope I said his name right. DJU for short. Is DJ going to make the roster? Here's the thing. Last year we carried 2 quarterbacks, so we know that Harbaugh is comfortable carrying 2 quarterbacks. Does he want to bring DJU as a 3rd quarterback, or is he going to be a practice squad guy with an emergency designation to be able to dress on game days? That is more what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to carry 2. I don't think DJ's been good enough to guarantee he has a roster spot. And we have a lot of good players. And if you add him, you may be cutting a safety or a linebacker or an edge rusher that we could use for him to just kind of hold a clipboard as our third quarterback. So I like some things he's done, but I think we're going 2 quarterbacks here. That's the hard part about 53. You're cutting players that you like, and you'll see that throughout this video. I had to cut players that I really like. That it'd be really hard to imagine them making our practice squad and not getting scooped up by another team. So that's always your concern. If you cut, every other team has the right to sign them, and then you could lose them. So Herbert, Lance, those are our 2 quarterbacks. We're going to move to the running backs. I've got us keeping 4, if you count Alec Ingold as a running back, which he's a fullback, and I just didn't want to do a fullback. So we're going to have 4 running backs. We have Amarian Hampton making the roster, Keaton Mitchell making the roster, Kamani Vidal, and Alec Ingold, which means it's the end of the Scott Matlock era. I don't know if he'll get scooped up. Maybe he's on a practice squad. Maybe he's somewhere else. I'm not super worried about that one. That one doesn't bother me at all. But cool story, not as good of a player as a story on that one, in my opinion. The one that is interesting that was actually hard to cut in the running back room was Jarrett Patterson, who's a very good return guy, special teams guy, does a lot of things on the special teams regards that could earn him a roster spot. So right now I got him getting cut and not quite making it, but he was a tough one to cut, so I got him as like one of my first 3 out. For context here, I put together a list of all the players that I think have a legitimate shot to make it. And then I had to figure out where to make cuts at the end. So I came to 56 really good players that I would love to keep, but I had to cut 3. So Jarrett Patterson, one of the first 3 I had to cut. We're going to move on to the wide receivers. And one of the reasons I had to cut Jarrett Patterson is to make room for a very surprising player that I might be the only person talking about at this point in time. I don't follow every Chargers content creator. I don't know who else talked about who, but I do follow a good amount, and I haven't heard anyone really talk about De'Lavon Campbell. So let's go through these first 6 that are obvious. I think everyone has these first 6 pretty locked. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Trey Harris, Brennan Thompson, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Darius Davis, who's the best return man in the league when he's healthy. All that's fine. All that's locked in. I don't think anyone's got any qualms with any of that. De'Lavon Campbell had a really good preseason for us last year. He ends up getting scooped up. He was on our practice squad for a while, gets signed by, I think, Cleveland, if I remember right. I think he went to Cleveland. He played a couple games for Cleveland, gets hurt, gets waived again due to injuries, and the Chargers picked him back up. So he's back with us. He's in a training camp battle, and he's trying to earn the last receiver spot on the roster. The question is, are we going to carry 6 or 7? You can carry 7. It's legit. Campbell would probably have to play some special teams, maybe be a gunner or something like that. I don't know if he's capable of that. I don't know how good he would do in kick coverage and things like that. I don't know. But De'Lavon Campbell has a chance to make the roster because he has a skill set that the other 6 guys don't necessarily have. So you look at our roster, you got Ladd McConkey is a slot monster. Quentin Johnson, yards after catch monster. Trey Harris, just a well-rounded, good receiver, does a lot of good things. He's our clear-cut 3rd. Then you have Brennan Thompson, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Darius Davis, speed guys, deep threats, and some gadget plays as well. So these guys kind of all have their set roles. The one thing we don't have is a 50-50 jump ball guy. And I think De'Lavon Campbell could actually be that. It's a stretch, maybe. It's a reach, but I kind of like this kid. He did some good things last year for us. Obviously, Cleveland saw some things in him. So I think that there's a good chance here that he makes the roster and he's in like a very specialized role of like a jump ball, red zone type of guy. So I don't know. I may be reaching, and I'm writing this in pencil. This is not in pen. I'm not held to this until the day before. But I do think it's something to pay attention to, and I have him making the roster and us carrying 7 guys. So we'll see later how I got to that point, who I had to cut to make that happen. And maybe you disagree. Maybe you keep Jarrett Patterson over De'Lavon Campbell. That's a respectable, understandable take. I chose to go this route. I might flip that later. But let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go to the left tackle. So at left tackle, I think it's pretty simple here. I got Rashawn Slater, Travis Burke. The truth of the matter is the way we do our tackle situation is Slater's our left tackle. Joe Alt is our right tackle. But if Slater ever goes down, Alt will move over. So then basically you're really going to have like 1 starting left tackle, and then you're going to have like 3 or 4 right tackles because whoever slides in is going to be sliding into right tackle, not left. So, but just for the sake of this, I put him down as a left tackle. So understanding Travis Burke is probably our 4th tackle right now, sitting right now behind Trey Pipkins. But that could change. He could be our 3rd. But we're going to go to right tackle. and we're going to have Joe Alt, and we're going to have Trey Pipkins. So I think those will be your 4 tackles on the roster. I did have Isaiah World as someone who could make the roster, but he's going to end up being on season-ending IR. So we're going to be able to stash him, give him a redshirt rookie year, let him sit, let him get healthy, let him develop. And by maybe next year, he's fighting for a roster spot because I think he's got potential. But as of now, he's on season-ending IR. He was the only other guy I considered here. So we've got 4 tackles, Slater, Alt, Pipkins, and Travis Burke. So I feel really good about those, actually, to be honest with you. Guard, the most interesting position on this roster. So the way I broke it down here, I've got us keeping 5 guards. I don't know who's going to be left and right, but we know that right now, the way they were running first and second team reps through minicamp, and I think it'll stay this way, is that Cole Strange will be your starting right guard, and Trevor Penning will be his backup, because they didn't have Trevor Penning playing left guard, which is interesting. So they had some Branson Taylor in there. I got Branson Taylor not making the cut. So we got 2 guards, 2 right guards, and Cole Strange and Trevor Penning. And then I got 3 left guards. And I'm actually, the more I'm listening, something I found interesting, I didn't really think about it when we initially signed Coyote Awashika, but he played for Ben Johnson. So this zone run game that Ben Johnson and Mike McDaniel look similar. Their stuff's a little different, but they make their stuff look similar. And Coyote Awashika started some games for the Lions with Ben Johnson. And I didn't really think about the scheme fit with him. I was like, he's going to be a backup. When we signed him, I didn't even think anything of it. I actually think, rather than making Jake Slaughter learn a new position, maybe Coyote Awashika balls out in training camp and just goes and flatly wins the starting left guard job, which would be awesome for the Chargers, because that means that Slaughter becomes your backup center, and you got 2 good centers. So I hadn't really thought of that as an option, but the more I'm listening to people and the more I'm looking into things, I kind of like it. And I'm rooting for Coyote Awashika to win the starting job. So that's my new personal, I'm planting my flag as the Coyote Awashika guy. So maybe I'm a lone ranger there. Maybe I'm a lunatic. Those are very possible takes, but only time will tell. And that's what I'm rooting for. So that's what I'm going to leave as my prediction for now. And then I got our 2 6th-round picks, Logan Taylor and Alex Harkey, backing him up at left guard, meaning that our 2 centers would be Tyler Biadasz and Jake Slaughter, which would excite me to the highest level, to let Jake Slaughter have a year to just sit and learn under Biadasz. And I think this could be a really good offensive line. I think it really could be a top 10, top 15 offensive line if you could, with some depth there. I think that Trevor Penning is not a great starter, but is a great depth piece. I think that Logan Taylor and Alex Harkey could develop. Slaughter will develop. And I think, and then you got Travis Burke who will develop. You got 4 rookies that are going to develop, and they're going to be really good. Mike McDaniel said you're going to need 8 to 9 offensive linemen. And I think we've legitimately got 4 good starters and maybe 5 if Coyote's what I think he could be. And you're going to have, I think, at least 3 good backups. So I think we're in a good spot. So we're going to move on. So that puts me at, let me look here. I got 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 16, 20. Wow. I only have 22 players on offense, even with adding Delavon Campbell in there, who probably at this point isn't on the roster. But did I do my math right? Let me look. 2, 4, that's 6. I got 7 receivers, that's 13. And then we got 2, that's 15. 3 left guards, there's 18, 20, 22. Oh, it's 24. That makes more sense. Okay. I thought I did that. All right. So I got 24. So in theory, we're going to have a kicker, punter, and a long snapper. So we need to really get to 50 players that are not specialists. So that means we got 26 players on defense to get through. So we're going to go through it real quick. I've got, starting at the edge rusher position, I have us doing something very interesting. This is one of the most interesting battles going into training camp. Here's how I see it playing out. I hope I'm right, but we'll see. I got Khalil Mack, Tuli Tuipulotu, Akeem Mesidor as your top 3. Those are locked in, good to go on the roster. You're going to have at least 4, and you could definitely carry 5. So it comes down to, there's 1, maybe 2 spots for Kyle Kanar, Nadeem Tucker, and Bud Dupree. So Bud Dupree is the older veteran who's been around for a long time. Nadeem Tucker is the undrafted free agent who could be coming out of nowhere. And Kyle Kennard was our 4th-round pick last year, who, don't forget, he had a bad rookie year, but his senior year at, is it South Carolina? I forget. Y'all let me know in the comments. He played at Mississippi State or South Carolina. He led the SEC in sacks. I forget exactly where he played now off the top of my head, but he led the SEC in sacks. So he can play. He had a bad rookie year, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully a very similar to Justin Eboigbe type, who had a bad rookie year, didn't flash, didn't show anything, and in year 2 he pops. I believe in Kyle Kennard. I believe Kyle Kennard will be our 4th edge rusher, and I believe you'll see a different Kyle Kennard than you did last year. Na'Dae Tucker is your 5th guy, who obviously Chris O'Leary believes in him. He was his coach last year at Western Michigan, and Na'Dae Tucker led all of college football in sacks last year. And Na'Dae Tucker's 26 years old, so he's coming into the league old and polished and refined. So I think Na'Dae Tucker makes the roster. I think Kyle Kennard is your 4th, and I think Bud Dupree is sent packing and maybe looking for another team. So 5 edge rushers is why I had to make some cuts in other places. But we're going to go to defensive tackle. So on the interior, we got Dalvin Tomlinson, Teair Tart, Jamari Caldwell, Justin Eboigbe, and Nick Barrett, who was our 5th-round pick this year. So again, I feel great about that is at least 3 guaranteed great run stuffers. Justin Eboigbe was a really good pass rusher last year from the interior, and Nick Barrett looks like a 4th elite run stopper. So I think we got guys who are just going to plug the middle here, and you can rotate them. So one gets tired, throw another one in. We got bodies to. And this defensive line reminds me, I'm going to cross sports reference here, but this defensive line reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder and how they play defense. It's just like, hey, we don't have one good player. We just got bodies on bodies on bodies, and we're throwing waves of defenders at you. And if you're a center, it's like, oh, good, Dalvin Tomlinson's leaving the game. Oh, crap, now I got to block Jamari Caldwell. Like, oh, there goes Caldwell. Oh, wait, Tomlinson's back. Teair Tart went off, and now you got Nick Barrett. It's like, now you're 3rd and 10. Here comes Eboigbe and his speed. It's like, I really like the defensive line a lot. One of my favorite rooms that we have. I think those 5 are locked in stone. I don't think any of them are missing the cut, and I don't think anyone's jumping in there. I think it'll be those 5 plus Na'Dae Tucker and the other 5 edge rushers. I think you got a good solid group on that D-line between the edge and the D-line. Next up, linebacker. The hardest room to figure out on our team is the linebackers. Number 1, because Junior Colson, what is he? We don't know. We haven't seen him play. So we're going to start off here. Daiyan Henley, Denzel Perryman, pretty much locked in stone. This is where I realized I made a mistake earlier. I forgot to put Del'Shawn Phillips in there, but Troy Dye and Del'Shawn Phillips are going to be your 3rd and your 4th. Those are pretty much locked in. So I was looking at it. I was like, oh, man, like Junior Colson's going to make the team, and so is Marlowe Wax. There's no problem. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, I didn't have Del'Shawn in here. So Del'Shawn's going to make the team. He's got to make the team, no question. So then that leaves the question. Are you going to carry 6 linebackers? Are you going to carry 5 linebackers? I've only got us carrying 5. I don't think we can carry 6. So Marlowe Wax was awesome on special teams last year, and he played well in Week 18 in Denver when he got to play in that meaningless game up there. So Marlowe Wax is a tough one to cut. But it's going to come down to him or Junior Colson, who played at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh and was a 3rd-round pick with high pedigree and was literally in the draft that he went in, was the 2nd linebacker off the board in the 3rd round. So he's a high-level pedigree player who's been injured for the first 2 years. So there's a heck of a battle to be had between Marlowe Wax and Junior Colson. One of them is going to make the roster. The other one's going to get cut. And simply put, I know Marlowe Wax is really good on special teams, and I think that'll give him the edge. And I'm really sad to say Junior Colson's going to have to go find a redemption project somewhere else. And if you had to, gun to my head and make me guess, I would almost guarantee he ends up as a reclamation project under Jesse Minter in Baltimore. So that's what I see for his future, is Junior Colson hopefully becoming a really good linebacker in the NFL under Jesse Minter, and I wish him nothing but the best. I say it like he's already gone, but I really believe in Junior Colson, but I just don't think the injuries have hurt him so much. I don't think he's going to have a fit with the Chargers, but I do think he could have a reclamation somewhere else, and I hope he does. So that's my prediction there. Marlowe Wax gets the final spot. This is another tough room here. We're going to go corners. How many corners do you keep? Here's the other question. Is Derwin James a safety or a corner? So how you label him matters a lot for how you do this. So the way I did it, I left him as a safety, even though I understand he's going to play a lot of slot corner. But with that, knowing he's a safety, so I really only need to keep 5 corners because Derwin James is my 6th corner. So I kept 5. We have 6 really good ones to pick from here, or 6 who could be really good. And this is where it's interesting. I feel great about our top 3. So our top 3, you're going to have Dante Jackson, Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart. And then, like I said, Derwin James mixing in there to make those guys better. So those 4, you have 4 good corners in there and you're fine. The question is, what do you do with these young guys, man? Dean Leonard's been in the league for a long time and is a great special teamer. Do you keep him? Eric Rogers and Nico Reed flashed in preseason last year. Sat on the practice squad and looked to be doing better and looked to be primed to make a roster spot this year. So you have to cut one of these 3. So I really struggled with it, and I went based on age alone. I took the 2 young guys to step up and take the spot from Dean Leonard. So I got Dean Leonard as one of my first 3 getting cut, which was really hard because I like Dean Leonard more than most people. But I went with Eric Rogers and I went with Nico Reed. So I got 5 corners: Dante Jackson, Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart, Eric Rogers, Nico Reed. And that's that one. And then finally, the safeties. The reason I only kept 5 corners is because I couldn't bring myself to cut one of these safeties. And that was really difficult. So and again, if you want to tell me you're cutting one of the safeties to put in someone else, maybe you keep a Junior Colson, totally fine. I get it. I'm not against it at all. So, but for me, what I did here, what I predicted is Derwin James as your safety, Elijah Molden, Tony Jefferson, RJ Mickens, Genesis Smith, and Kendall Williamson all making the roster. That is 6 safeties, which is insane, by the way. But when you recognize Derwin James is going to play in the slot a lot, so you're going to need at least 2 safeties to back. So Elijah Molden, Tony Jefferson, and RJ Mickens feel like a lock in that regard as like your top 3 safeties. If you take DJ out, well, then keeping 5 and counting DJ as a corner doesn't feel bad. So I kept 5 and 5, I kept 5 and 6 with corners and safeties, but DJ is going to kind of flip between the 2 depending on which play and who we're playing and whatever. So that's why I kept 5 outside of Derwin James, 5 on each spot, so that he had the freedom to go wherever he was needed to be. So Kendall Williamson was great on special teams last year. Ryan Ficken loves him. So I think that it's just a matter of he's going to be there. Genesis Smith, we spent a 4th-round pick on him. He's going to make the roster. He got some tackling issues, but he got a pick in practice the other day. So I think he's a lock to make the roster. RJ Mickens was great last year. He can't be cut. So it's just like I couldn't find a guy to cut. Kendall Williamson was the one I thought about cutting to maybe put Dean Leonard in, but they're both special teams guys, and I went with Williamson, who's a little bit younger, and I think a little bit better. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to run through it one more time so we all got it. Justin Herbert, Trey Lance, Amarian Hampton, Keaton Mitchell, Kamani Vidal, Alec Ingold, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Trey Harris, Brendan Thompson, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Darius Davis, Daylevon Campbell, Rashawn Slater, Travis Burke, Coyote Awashika, Logan Taylor, Alex Harkey, Tyler Biadasz, Jake Slaughter, Cole Strange, Trevor Penning, Joe Alt, Trey Pipkins, Khalil Mack, Tuli Tuipulotu, Akeem Mesidor, Kyle Kennard, Nadame Tucker, Dalvin Tomlinson, Tier Tart, Jamari Caldwell, Justin Aboigbe, Nick Barrett, Deion Henley, Denzel Perryman, Delshawn Phillips, Troy Dye, Marlowe Wax, Dante Jackson, Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart, Eric Rogers, Nico Reed, Derwin James, Elijah Molden, Tony Jefferson, RJ Mickens, Genesis Smith, Kendall Williamson, and your 3 specialists, Cameron Dicker, J.K. Scott, Josh Harris. So y'all let me know what you think there. Is there someone you would keep, someone you would cut? This was a hard exercise this early. It'll be probably much easier to do once training camp is rolled around. You know, you never know who's going to get injured. Maybe someone gets signed as a free agent, which moves someone down. It's a lot of stuff we could do. There's still moves to be made. But yeah, y'all tune in. Let me know. Let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if y'all love this, hate this, whatever. Keep me honest. But yeah, like I said, tough project and definitely something to mess around with in your own time, see if you like it as well. But roster battles are one of the biggest things we do. It's going to be important for us as Chargers fans to really watch these back of the roster battles. And we saw how important those were last year, especially on the offensive line with all the injuries. RJ Mickens barely made the roster, big impact. So these are not meaningless players, meaningless spots. So big stuff to go for. Probably my biggest surprises that I had on here were Nadane Tucker making the roster, Daylevon Campbell making the roster, and I don't know, maybe it's a surprise for, Marlowe Wax or to beat Junior Colson. I don't know. I don't think I got any big surprises there other than that. Maybe the guards, having Coyote as my starter. But so y'all let me know. And with that being said, like I said at the beginning, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to leave us a comment. All that stuff boosts our algorithm, helps us out a ton. And with that being said, we love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out. Bolts up. We'll talk to you on the next episode.